Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss King Morte the Arthur. This period basically was belonged to the revival of learning period, and this period is after the age of Chaucer, the exact period before the Anglo-Saxons arrived to England. And this work, King Morte the Arthur, is between two remarkable historical periods, which are Roman legions and Anglo-Saxons. Roman legions, they were Romans who invaded Britain during prehistorical period in BCs, and this was begun from the advent of Julius Caesar, but it was not so successful in the reign of Julius Caesar. It became most successful in time period of Claudius Augustus Caesar, who was father of uh, a king named Nure or Nero, sorry, Nero king. So Britain became colony of Roman Empire, and legions were small states. They divided into provinces, states that were aftermath known as legions. So the King Morte the Arthur, he is regarded the first remarkable legendary king of Britain, and his time period is not so exact, but it may be 800 BCE or something near about that. But the king or this name became more popular after the publication of Thomas Mallory's book named Le Morte the Arthur. So this was basically a chronicle work, and it was written and published during 15th century when Thomas Mallory was in prison. So it is remarkable for several points of view. So as I told you earlier that it is regarded the greatest work of this period, and also the time period that it is between Roman legion and Anglo-Saxons. This was the period of more chaotic time in England, where different races, different tribes, groups were invading and coming through Europe for Britain, or in England or in Britain. The Celts were among them. They were Aryans. They were a branch of Aryans. Then Romans were. So in this work, there is bravery of young Arthur when he was child. So let us see some factual information about King Morte the Arthur. As I told you that Thomas Mallory's work Le Morte the Arthur make it more popular. And what is in this work? This work is basically a collection of Arthurian romances. Romances means his bravery, his cavalry, his wartime stories, and so on and so forth. Now we are going to discuss some factual information which are related to King Morte the Arthur. So the first one is Excalibur. So Excalibur is a name of a sword which was pulled out by young Arthur, and after that there was a ceremony happening at that place, and the several kings were have to pull out a sword, but no one get success. Although young Arthur, he succeed to pull out the sword. So the sword was put there by goddess of war. So she gave the sword to King Marty the Arthur, and the sword name was Excalibur. And there is also a mysterious story about this sword, that when that goddess of war who gave the sword to King, she said that after your final departure, you have to throw this sword into a water. And if when you throw this sword into the water, the great lightning and thundering will happen. So when the king was fighting the war with his one of the uh, knight who betrayed the king, then he threw the sword with the help of his other knight, Sir Bedivere. So this was the story. And the second one is the round table. It was given to the king by in the wedding, and it was given to him by the princess Guinevere. It was a gift, and mostly decision of King Morte the Arthur he used to make by sitting on that round table. Then the next fact is the four knights. So there were four knights. The first one was Sir Lancelot. He was the foremost knight among the knights of King Arthur, and he was perhaps the most faithful to the king. But with passing of time, according to the story, he developed some illicit love affair with the queen, Guinevere. Guinevere was queen of King Arthur. So Lancelot and Guinevere, they becomes fall in some illicit relation, and they adopted a son also. Another knight was Sir Bedivere. Bedivere was the last and most faithful knight. When Arthur was seriously wounded, he ordered Bedivere to throw the sword Excalibur into the lake, which Bedivere hides for 2 times. But at last he threw the sword into the lake. The next is Sir Galahad. He was also among the most faithful knight of King. Camelot was a place where the palace of King Arthur was made. And in this work there are information of 3 queens. The first is the soul of Arthur's mother. The second is the Lady of the Lake, or the Goddess of War, and the third is soul of Arthur's sister, who was died in infancy. As I told you earlier, there were illicit relations between Sir Lancelot and Guinevere. So Guinevere was queen of King Arthur, but she remained unfaithful and issueless. She became a nun aftermath and lived for few years and died with Sir Lancelot. So this was all about the King Morte the author. No exact time period is mentioned anywhere, and it was become most popular, as I told, by the work of Thomas Malory. Work Le Morte the Arthur. So I hope you get to know many things about this. In historical background of English literature, this may be important for your exam. So thank you everyone. Do subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Wishing you all a happy new year 2025. Thank you everyone.